before this video starts, I'd like to say I'm not liable for any actions you do in this video. This is just a tutorial for a hobbyist on how to wire this panel, and if you do anything wrong, I'm not liable for it. So anyway, let's go on to the video. Today I'll be showing you how to wire up a Cyanite and Telenite 5820XL, whether this is your first addressable panel or your first conventional panel, since this is technically a hybrid panel and it is conventional and addressable due to flexput, or this is your first Telenite or Cyanite panel. I'll be showing you how to wire it up and how to address some devices and how to hook up a conventional device to this panel without any modules. So let's get on to the video. Let me remove the door and I'll show you the wiring terminals and how to wire things up. So I just removed the door, and before I show you how to wire stuff, I personally recommend download the manual for the 5820XL. There's a bunch of helpful tips in the manual, including how to wire things, how to program, and sync options, and much more. But if you're on a pinch and you don't have the manual on you right now, and you just want to look at the wiring diagram is right there on the bottom of the panel. So let me zoom in or show you, and as you could tell, it shows you some of the wiring diagrams and quick references. But with that out of the way, let me zoom in on the main terminal board or main board, and I'll show you how to wire stuff. So on the top of the board right here, this is your AC terminals. So the middle one's your ground, this one's where your white wire goes, and your first one is where your black wire goes. So that's where your panel gets power. It takes 120 volts AC alternating current. So let's wire that up, but don't connect it yet because you don't want to work on a live panel because you can short circuit something, and that isn't good. So we'll bring our wiring in from one of the knockouts, and then we'll wire the ground to the middle one, your white wire to your last terminal, and yeah. Also, please ignore this string. This string is connected to the wire, so you can pull it to make it longer, but it's not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to cut it, but I don't have any scissors right now. So tug on it, make sure they're tight, and then we'll connect our last one. Okay, tug on them, make sure they're tight, and after you tug on it, make sure to make sure they're all tight, I'll show you what to do next. So before we start wiring stuff, I'd like to go over what each terminal does. So I already showed you what these do. These are for AC power, and now let me show you what these two are for. So these two terminals right here, they're for programming Hochiki or SD smoke detectors. Since Hochiki/SD smoke detector don't have dials like how SK protocol smoke detector do, which I'll show you right now what I mean. If I can remove it off the base, and this is what I mean. So these dials right here, they're for setting your address, and Hochiki devices do not have dials, so you have to set it by connecting a base to this and connecting the head of the smoke detector to the base and setting your address through the keypad. So yeah, now let me show you what the top row of terminals do. There's two rows of terminals, so I'll show you what they do. So these two terminals right here, they're for your SLC. Your SLC is how you connect addressable devices, modules, addressable relays, addressable smokes. All that goes to your SLC right here. You can expand the SLC with SLC expansion card, which can add up to 1100 points to this panel. But right now I just have, I'm pretty sure 200, 198 or 300, one of those numbers. But next to it, there's these terminals. These terminals are for a Class A SLC. I recommend not doing a Class A SLC for a hobbyist system because it's much more complicated. But if you want to do Class A, what Class A is, it's basically, so since each addressable device goes to the module, or each wire go to each addressable device, Class A makes it return back to the panel. So if a wire is cut, even if a wire is cut, there's a fail-safe so that the devices will still be able to communicate. You'll obviously get trouble in your panel, but there'll be a fail-safe. These terminals, the next, all these are for your telephone company or telephone line. I have no idea what they do, so I'm not going to go over that, but they are for your telephone line. Now these three terminals right here, this is for your trouble relay. These 6 terminals are a programmable relay. No, so this one is a programmable relay, and this one's a programmable relay. This one's for your S-Bus in. As I said, Class A S-Bus is basically where you put in addressable like power supply, an addressable NAC extender, or an addressable what is it called, annunciator, but that's for Class A. If you're doing a Class B, you use S-Bus out. And also these NACs, these terminals are all for your NACs. So these 12 terminals are for your NACs flexputs. So these can be zones or NACs, or for 2-wire, 4-wire, auxiliary relay, door holder, much more. So these are not just NACs, they're a bunch of stuff. And also these are your programming ports. So you could use USB type B, and this one's a serial port if I remember correctly. Also this is your key. So if you don't have the password, since this door does not have plexiglass, you need a password, or a key to silence, reset, acknowledge, program, and much more. But yeah, let me show you how to wire an addressable device. First, we'll start off with SD device, because SD is much more complicated, and not all 5820XLs have SK protocol. I'll start off with SD device because all Cyanite addressable panels have SD. So we'll start with an SD device. Also, one thing I forgot to go over are these jumpers going out from your panel or for your batteries. Usually it'll come with a jumper cable to connect two 12-volt batteries, but since I don't have that, I'm just using an 18 gauge wire, which I do not recommend because something bad could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could. But yeah, let's move on to our SD pool. So on the back, these two go to the after focuses, or I might have to go into manual focus, which I'll go into manual focus right now. Okay, so in the back, these two go into the switch. Don't mess with these unless you want to make it conventional, which I don't recommend, because if you have an Intellinite panel, why do you want a conventional device or a conventional SD pool station unless you're running SK protocol? I want to use it on a flexput. But these two are for your SLC. The first one, this one's your positive and this one's your negative. Also, these are your dip switches, which I'll pull up the manual right here and show you how to address pool station. I do not have any Hochiki slash SD detector, so I cannot show you how to program one, but I'll show you the manual right here. And it's overexposed by a lot, so hopefully that's enough. But right here, it tells you your address. So let me lower the ISO a bit. Okay, there, much better. So dip switch 1 is address 1, dip switch 2 is address 2, dip switch 3 is address 4, dip switch 4 is address 8, 5 is 16, 6 is 7, 7 is 64, and 8 is not used. So the way you address it is, let's say you want address 3, you have to add 1 and 2, so 1 and 2 equals 3, So you turn dip switch 1 and 2 on, which gives you 3. But let's say you want address 5. So to give you address 5, you turn on dip switch 1 and 3, which gives you 1 plus 4 is 5. But since we're, well, let me re-expose. But since we're using just one device, we'll just turn dip switch 1 on. So use a small screwdriver like this one, and then let me zoom in. If it focuses. Yeah, so it's not okay. There. So turn off all the dip switches if they're on, and then turn dip switch 1 on. And it looks like all of them are off except one, which means we correctly addressed it. So now we run 2 wires from positive and negative to the SLC. So let me grab a wire and then I'll do that right now. So I just connected wires from the back of the pool station to positive and negative. So now we're going to run it to the positive and negative of the class, the SLC, but we're going to run it to the out SLC. So SLC out, we'll put it right here. So the first one is negative and the second one is positive. So we'll do that and then we'll tighten down the terminals. And give that a tug so it's successfully connected. I'll put it right up here so you guys can see it. If I zoom out, you can see the pull station. And now we're gonna wire a Spectral Alert Advance. So for this one, right now I'm using 24 gauge wire, which is really flimsy and I hate it, but that's all I have. But for the Spectral Alert, I'll be using FPL wire, and also your NACs use 4.7K resistors. These are the ones I use. They're by E-Projects. They're 1/2 watt. I mean 1/4 watt. I personally recommend 1/2 watt, but these are all the ones I have. So 4.7K, and you put them on all your NACs. But if you're using a NAC, if you're not using a NAC in programming mode, you could put unused, so you don't need to top off the NAC, but I'll show you that in a bit. But if you are using a NAC, you're going to need a resistor, and you'll put it on your end-of-line device. But if this is a hobby system, you don't need an end-of-line resistor. You could just leave it on the panel, but I recommend putting it on end-of-line. So let me open the pool and wire open the Spectral Alert and then show you how to wire it. Okay, so I just finished wiring the mounting bracket. So there's 2 positives. These 2 are positive and this one's negative. So the way you do it, if this has a snap off mounting bracket, is 1 positive will go to your positive terminal and then 1 will go to your negative terminal, and the resistor will share a positive between this one and a negative. But if this isn't your end-of-line device, you don't put a resistor in it. Your resistor only goes on the end-of-line device. So your positive wire will go in this, and your negative. So this will be a positive wire to the next device, and your negative wire will go to the next device. But since this is the end-of-line device, we don't have to worry about that. So we'll put the Spectral Alert cover back on, and then I'll close the cover. And then I'll wire it to the NAC. So I just wired the NAC. Your first terminal is your negative and your next terminal is your positive. So the O is negative and the X is positive. Also, I'll be showing you how to wire your conventional zone to a flexput. So it's basically like wiring any conventional zone. So I'll show you right now. So I have my Edwards SIGA right here, which is conventional. As you can see, there's no module. I already have a 4.7K ohm resistor in there. But the way you wire it is, it doesn't really matter polarity if you're doing a pull station, but if you're doing a 2-wire smoke, it does. But I just removed the resistor since there's a regular resistor in the pool, and I'll wire I'll wire the pull station. So let me get some FPL wire and then I'll wire it. So I finished wiring the conventional pull station. Since polarity doesn't matter, I didn't really check, but I did the positive and negative on the last NAC. So I'll put it right here, on the floor right here, and I have my resistor. But now, before we power it up, we have to connect our batteries. So let me zoom out so you can see a bit, and then we'll go down a bit. Okay, so let me get our batteries right here. So here's our first battery, and our second battery. Let me get it and get the wiring harness. So don't plug in your batteries just yet because you have to power up AC power first. But before, so basically the way you wire to or connect two 12-volt batteries is one end of the 12-volt, which is the positive end, go to the other battery, the negative battery. And then, so make sure you get this correct, because you don't want to do the positive of one battery to the positive of the other battery. You do the positive of one battery to the negative of the other battery. And then you connect the negative lead of your panel, so this one, to the negative lead of this one, and then your positive lead go to the positive of that one. So we'll power up the panel, and then we'll power up, and then we'll connect the batteries. And then I'll do that right now after I cut the video. So now we're gonna plug in the panel. So I just plugged in the panel. It's going to start up, and then I'll connect the batteries, and then I'll put the door on. But before I do that, let me put up the door. So I put up the door and it's still initializing. So I'll zoom in on the screen. Okay, so now tell me, do I want to start the system or go into system diagnostics? I'm going to start the system by pressing 1. Also, when we power it up, we might get, we're going to get trouble for open fault because of the pull station, since we haven't programmed that yet. Also, we might get a telephone trouble, so we'll check that out right now. So I waited a couple of seconds to make sure all the troubles appear, and we have 4 troubles now. So we'll scroll through the troubles so I can show you what they are. So our first trouble is an open circuit, because that's for the flexput number 6, because we have not programmed that yet. We have not programmed it as a pull station yet, so that's why it's beeping. Our next one is an extra point. That's for the silent night pull station, because we have not programmed that in yet. The next one is a telephone line trouble, and the next one is also a telephone line trouble. If you get this new in box, you might get telephone line trouble if you reset the panel. So we're gonna have to disable those. So we're going to programming mode. So go to your main screen, which you'll get troubles, or it'll show you your troubles. Your main screen just says trouble number 4, and so you click enter, and now it's gonna ask you for your access code. So let me move on right here so I could get a better view of, So it's gonna ask you for an access code. Your access code is basically your programming code. So the programming code is the same model number as the panel, so 5820. Now we're gonna click number 7, which brings us to programming menu. It's gonna initialize. After it initializes, we're gonna go into system options. So after we go into system options, we're going to click number 1, which is phone line. We're going to click phone line number 1. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. It's just that I'm really used to this, and yeah. So we're going to scroll down until we're right here. We're going to go monitor line. No, we do not want to monitor the line because we don't want to get phone line trouble. So after we do that, we're going to click save changes, yes. And now we're going to go phone line number 2. And we're going to do the same thing. Okay, now after we do that, we're going to go to number 6. So what this is basically, so if you want audible silence with 2 wire detectors, and if you want the strobe to still flash. I want that, so we're going to click yes. Save changes, yes. Now, edit banner, that's like if you don't want it to say IntelliNight or something, you could change that just by clicking edit banner. I'll show you right now. Custom banner, I'm not going to do that right now because that takes a while. We're going to exile that, and we're going to go into we're going to program the point. So we're going to click number 4, which is point, and then we're going to go into internal SOC. And now it's going to go, since we're in Hochiki protocol, the way you make sure you're in Hochiki protocol is, I should have done that before I went to programming a point, but you're going to go to SOC family, and then it's going to say SOC family, so we're on Hochiki. Do you wanna, no. Yeah, so if we were going, I asked you that before you change the protocol, but it's already in Hochiki, so you don't have to worry about that. But we're going to go into back to points. And then we're going to go into internal SOC. And then we're going to go into point number 1. And point number 1 is a switch, because technically it is a switch. So we're going to click switch, manual pull station. Yes, we want it to silence. Zone 1. You could change the name, but I'm not going to change the name. And then we're going to exit out that. Save changes, yes. It's saving the changes. And now we're going to go into program sync. Because since we want sync, I'm going to go into sync. So we're going to go into zone. You might be, why is it in zones? I have no idea why it's in zones, but it's in zone. So we're going to go zone 1. Edit zone outputs. So this might look confusing. It is kind of confusing, but this is your group number. This is your coding option. So if we look at the programming manual, let me adjust the ISO so you can see this better. Hopefully this is enough so that it's not bright. But let me bring this, and then bring it in front of the camera so you can see. Oh yeah, I'm still zoomed out. Okay, so let me adjust. Okay, they're much better. So if we scroll down, this gives us our coding options. This is on page 7-8. It's on page 117 right here. So right here, if we're going to set this as system sensor. So system sensor is number 19 right here. So we have to remember that. Number 19. So let me go back into our ISO. Higher our aperture and ISO. And let me zoom in. Okay. So now that we're in ISO, now that I adjust our aperture and ISO, so this is our group. We're gonna leave that the same. And now our coding option. The coding option is number 18 because, not 18. My bad, number 19, because we want system sensor sync. And system sensor sync at number 19. Then we're going to click the right arrow. Then we're going to click left until we go to this one. So we're going to go up until we go detector. And then we're going to put number 19 again. Then we're going to exit out that. And then I think that's everything. Oh no, that is not everything. We have to still program the flexput. So we're going to go into point, which is number 4. We're going to go into internal power supply. We're going to go into circuit number 6, which is the circuit we had. Circuit number 8 and stuff, that's your relays. We don't have to worry about that since we don't have any relays. But we're going to set this as a switch. And we're going to have a manual pull station and zone 1 silenceable. And then we're going to exit out this. Save changes? Yes. Saving changes. And then jumpstart programming is basically auto programming. If you have like 20 points on the system, we don't need to go to that because we only have 1 point. So that's everything. So we're going to exit out that. Yes, we want to save that, and yes. So now it's going to reboot, and then we should be good to go. So while that's rebooting, let me grab my hearing protection. Start system, and now it's going to start. Let's see what our trouble is. Our trouble is number 6, so I might not have the right resistor. So I'll make sure I have the right resistor, and then we'll go back to that. Yeah, so I did not have the right resistor, but now it's normal, and now we could test the devices. So let me zoom out, and then we'll see if we programmed everything correctly. So let me zoom out. Now we'll pull the pull station. So we did program everything correctly, because as you can see, there's sync and it's still flashing even though we did silence it. So we'll reset this. If I could stick my key in and reset it. Okay, reset it, and now we're gonna test the conventional pull station, which is right about here. So it's right here, and we're gonna pull it. Let me grab my keys for it, and then we'll pull it. So I grabbed my keys for a pull, and now we're gonna pull it. Okay, so as you can see, it says manual pull, module 34, circuit 6. Circuit 6 was our flexput, so that means we wired everything correctly. So let me reset the pull station. If you don't have a key, you can reset the panel by clicking reset, and it'll ask for a code. Your code is 1111, and then it resets the system. So now we're back to normal. So now that I showed you how to program Hochiki, I'll show you how to program SK protocol. Okay, so I have my two addressable devices right here. A Cyanite PTIRW, which is an SK acclimate, which is the older model number. This one's the low profile one, so that's why it looks different. And I have a SK pull dual action. So before we do anything, we have to set our addresses. Since these are, since we have two devices on the XLC, but since they're different devices, this one could be address 1, and this one could also be address 1. So the way you set addresses is, you check the module, make sure it focus, and then you'll set it to your address. So if this is address 1, you'll flip the switch, so you get address 1. So let's do that. So I flipped it to address 1. And now, since this smoke detector is also a different device, you can set this as address 1 as well. And now we set that as address 1. Then we have our SLC wire. It is not plugged into the panel, like I said before. Do not do this if your wire is plugged into the SLC. Please do not. So the way you wire it is, you know what? Let's do the smoke detector at the first device on the SLC. So this one. So on this one, your RA is for your remote annunciator. We do not have a remote annunciator, so you just plug in the positive and negative. So let me do that right now. I have to strip this wire a bit longer. So let me strip it a bit longer. Oh, okay, so I stripped my wire. Also, I'm sorry if you hear my dog barking. He's barking because my mom is cooking outside, and he cannot go outside since we don't have a fence right now. So yeah, let me get our wire and connect it to positive and negative. But how do we connect this one to the next device? Well, basically you daisy chain it. So let me show you after I connect this device. Okay, so as you can see, there are two wires going to the detector. If this was the last detector on the line, there would not be two wires. But since this is going to the next device, the pull station, we daisy chained it. So basically, positive of the SLC is going to this one since it's the first one, or if it with the next device or the other device. So one of the positive go to the SLC or to the other device, and then the negative go to the next device. And then the other negative went to either the SLC or from the other device. But then we do the same on the pull station. Your white wire is your negative, and this one's your positive. So we'll do that right now. Okay, let me just cut this because this is going to take too long. Okay, so I finished wiring it. So now that we finished wiring it, we'll put the base on our detector. Let me make sure it's aligned. These are kind of a pain to align. Okay, and now I turn it, and then we'll connect it to our SLC. So after I connect it to our SLC, we'll go into programming mode and program it. So I connected it to the SLC, and depending if you have a set SK protocol or not, you might get trouble. So let's go into programming mode and program it. Number 7, it's going to initialize, and then after, oops, sorry. Okay, after it initializes, we're going to set the SLC to SK protocol. I would do auto program, but if you do auto program, it erases all your stuff, your sync options, all that. So I recommend if you only have a few devices, please don't auto program unless you want to reprogram everything. So click SK series. Warning, changing SLC family sets all SLC points to unused. So what that means is if you had any SD devices and you had them programmed, it'll delete those points. So we don't have any devices, so we're going to click yes. Now it's going to save and then restart. So we'll wait until it restarts and then I'll cut there. You know what? Let's not cut. It might take a while, but oh well. Oh, so it's probably done. Yeah, done. So we're going to points. Not points, I mean, yeah, points. Not I was going to say module, but this is not a firelight panel. This is a Cyanide panel. Because firelight, you go into modules, obviously, and points, but this is not a firelight panel, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to point, and now we're going to go into internal SLC, and then it says S 0 0. So we're going to click 0 0, and then we're going to click 0 0 1 is a detector. So we're going to click it as acclimate. We're going to click sensible, and then click yes. No, we don't want to change the name, so yeah, so it's a sensor. So we're going to click save. Oh, I didn't. Oh, it soon changes. So now we're going to go into internal SLC. Now we're going to do module. So module 001 is unused. So I'm going to click switch manual pull station. No, we don't want to do the name. Yes. It's saving the changes. This takes a while, a few seconds. Okay, so now we're going to exile this. Yes. And now it's gonna restart. So while that restarts, we'll zoom out and I'll show you I'll zoom out and then I'll show you the devices. So the devices are right here, and they might blink, hopefully. Since this is a 5K series, it's gonna blink very slow, like once every 10 seconds. And while that's doing its thing, I'll get a magnet. So I'll put the magnet right there. So I'll click start system, and you know what, I'll just show you the screen. Oh, it's done. So as you can see, it says Cyanide and Telenite 5820XL. So I'll show you the strobe, and we'll pull this pull station. So let me put the my hearing protection on, and then we'll pull it. And you know what? I don't want to put my key in, so I'll just enable the keypad. And then I'll put this detector right here. So, without further ado, let's put it right here. So without further ado, push in, pull down. Okay, so as you can see, it said manual pull station S bus module 1. So that shows you we programmed it correctly. So now we'll activate the Silent Night PTRW. So let me go up down here. Oh my god, why have I zoomed in so much? Okay, so let me look for the magnet. Okay, so the magnet's right here. Let me remove this, but I'll do it right now. So as you can see, it says smoke acclimate, S bus 33, sensor 1, zone 1, module 1. So we'll reset the pull station, and then we'll click reset. Now we'll click reset. Also, there's one other thing I want to show you, which is pretty cool with this panel. So after this resets, I'll show you. Okay, so now it's reset. We'll go into programming mode. Well, not programming mode. We'll put in our code. We're going to system test. We're going to no, not system test, my bad. Point function. So number 2. And then we'll go into 6, which is IO point control, internal, SOC. We're going into sensor. Then we'll go into, after we click enter, it'll make an alarm. So let me put my hearing protection on and show you. So let me zoom out. So our detector's right here, and after I click enter, it'll go into alarm. So, oops, I'm sorry. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, the detector is an alarm because through the panel, I'll show you right now what I did. So I'll remove it off the tripod since this is kind of annoying that it keeps moving. But look, it says SK active climate, and we generate an alarm. So I'll click reset, and now it's resetting the system. So now we're back to normal, and yeah, so this was a quick, short, not really short, but more of an informative video on how to program and add SoC device, how to program the panel, and how to add devices to the system. I hope you like this. If you have any comments or if you have any questions on the panel, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll try to help you. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it informative. And yeah, so goodbye.